Hey everyone. So today we're doing something a little different.
Oh,
Yeah. Still an Apple Watch deep dive,
yeah.
but instead of like all the usual reviews, articles and stuff, we're going right to the source.
What do you mean?
The Amazon product page for the Series 10.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I know it sounds a bit weird, but
I mean, it makes sense.
right. There's a lot of information there and you can really see how Apple is.
Like selling it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So just to be super clear, everything we're talking about today is based on that page as of November 6th, 2024.
Like a snapshot in time.
Exactly. Okay. So right off the bat, the first thing that jumps out is the price. $548 for the GPS and cellular 42mm model.
Okay.
But here's the catch. That price includes AppleCare Plus.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Right. It's not always factored in when you see prices for other smartwatches.
Especially on Amazon.
Yeah, so that AppleCare Plus one, that's 2 years of coverage.
For accidental damage. Yeah, battery issues too. Super important for a device you wear all the time.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of things that can save you money,
Uh-oh.
Amazon's got some prime perks that are pretty tempting.
Let me guess. Free 2-day shipping.
You know it. But there's more. They're offering an extended return window
Oh, wow.
until January 15th, 2025.
That's after the holidays.
Yeah, specifically for Apple products, which makes me think they're trying to make it easier for people to buy gifts.
Smart move. A lot of people worry about getting the wrong size or model, especially with tech.
Totally. Okay, enough about the buying process. Let's get into the watch itself.
Okay, yeah.
So how does the Series 10 stack up against other Apple Watches?
Good question.
Well, there's this comparison chart right on the product page, and it looks like Apple is really highlighting a few key things.
Like what?
Well, first off, the Always-On Retina Display
Oh, yeah.
with 2,000 nits of brightness.
Seriously, that's got to be like visible in direct sunlight.
Right. And then they're also pushing the S10 SiP processor up to 18 hours of battery life and 50-meter water resistance.
It seems like they're trying to make the Series 10 the sweet spot.
How so?
Well, it's got all the bells and whistles, but it's not as pricey as the Ultra 2, which is built for, extreme athletes and stuff.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
you've got the SE, which is more affordable, but it's missing some of the premium features.
So for someone who wants the best of both worlds,
The Series 10 is looking pretty good.
yeah, I think you're right. Okay, let's dive a little deeper into the tech specs.
All right, let's do it.
One thing that really surprised me was the weight, or rather the lack of it.
Oh,
The Series 10 starts at just 29.3 grams.
wow. That's light.
I know, right? And that's for the GPS and cellular model.
Considering all the tech packed in there, that's impressive.
It really is. And speaking of convenient, the fast charging is pretty cool too.
How fast are we talking?
They say you can get to 80% charge in just 30 minutes.
Wow, that's like the time it takes to make coffee.
Exactly. And get this, just 8 minutes of charging gives you 8 hours of sleep tracking.
Oh, wow, that's perfect for those nights when you forget to charge it.
Total. Now let's talk about what this watch can actually do. I was scrolling through the specs and
What'd you find?
they have a massive list of supported workout types. We're talking everything from running and cycling to yoga, kickboxing, even wheelchair workouts.
Wow, they really are trying to cater to everyone.
It seems like it, but specs are just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Totally, got to see what real users are saying.
And it's looking pretty good. The Series 10 has a 4.8 star rating on Amazon.
Oh, wow, almost perfect.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But let's go beyond just the star rating.
Dig into those reviews.
Exactly. So what are people saying about their experience with the Series 10?
Well, one thing that jumps out is how much people love the improved battery life.
Oh yeah, that was a bit of a complaint with older models.
It seems like Apple really listened to that feedback.
Longer battery life is always a win. What else are people saying?
A lot of positive comments about the design. People love the slimmer profile, how bright and clear the display is.
Makes sense with those 2,000 nits we talked about.
Yeah, and they also keep mentioning how lightweight it feels on their wrist.
Comfort is key when you're wearing something all day.
Absolutely. And there are even comments about the new software features and all the customization options.
I'm sensing a theme here. Lighter, brighter, longer lasting.
It's like Apple took all the complaints about previous models and addressed them head on.
I think you're right. But let's dig into those user reviews a little bit more.
Okay, what specifically are you thinking about?
Well, I noticed one reviewer mentioned being able to listen to Audible and Amazon Music right on their watch.
That's cool.
Yeah, perfect for those times when you don't want to carry your phone, like going for a walk or something.
Yeah, like the watch is becoming more and more independent from the iPhone.
Exactly. And another reviewer was raving about how light the Series 10 felt, even with a screen protector on.
That's a good sign.
They said they practically forget they're even wearing it.
Comfort is king.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Okay, so we've got the specs, the price, some initial user impressions.
It's shaping up to be a pretty impressive watch.
It really is. But what I'm really curious about is how it compares to previous models in more detail.
Okay, yeah, let's dive into that. What are you most interested in?
Well, Apple has this thing, right? They keep making these small improvements with each new Apple Watch.
Like they're always tweaking things.
Yeah, exactly. And it's usually focused on the display, how fast it is, and all the health stuff it can track.
Okay, so let's start with the display then. What's different about the Series 10's display compared to the older ones?
The Always-On Retina Display on this one, it's way brighter and more responsive.
We did talk about those 2000 nits.
Yeah, but think about it. That makes a huge difference when you're trying to read it outside.
It's like having a tiny TV on your wrist, but a really good TV.
Exactly. And the best part is, even with all that brightness, it's actually more energy efficient.
Which probably helps with the battery life, right?
You got it. That was a big issue for some people with the older Apple Watches.
Yeah, some people were saying they had to charge it like every day. With the Series 10, they're claiming up to 18 hours on a single charge.
Oh, wow, that's a lot better.
It is. And if you use the new low power mode, you can stretch it out to like 36 hours.
That's a game changer. Okay, so we've covered the display and battery life. What about processing power? I mean, the Series 10 has that new S10 SiP processor.
Okay, so the S10 SiP, it's a lot faster and more efficient than what they used in the older watches.
So for someone using it, what would they notice?
Everything feels smoother, apps open quicker, Siri responds faster.
Basically, it just feels snappier.
Exactly.
Now let's talk health tracking. Apple Watch has been a leader in that area.
For sure. And the Series 10, they added some cool new stuff, like the 3rd generation optical heart sensor.
Ooh, fancy name. But what does that actually do?
It's not just a fancy name, it's actually way more accurate now.
Really?
Yeah, it can track your heart rate better, and it can even pick up on those tiny variations in your heartbeat.
So could this thing detect heart problems early on?
Now, it's important to remember it's not a medical device, but the information it gives you, it could be helpful. Talk to your doctor about it, you know?
Definitely. And then there's the ECG app, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. You can literally take an electrocardiogram right from your wrist.
It's like having a portable heart clinic. That's wild. Speaking of health, what about the sleep tracking? I know the Series 10 can track sleep stages, even measure your heart rate variability while you're asleep.
Sleep tracking has come a long way, but it's still not perfect.
Yeah, I guess a lot of things can affect your sleep.
But it can be a really useful tool. It can help you see your sleep patterns, maybe identify some issues.
It's like having a sleep lab in your bedroom.
Exactly.
Okay, but sometimes a good night's sleep just isn't enough.
Yeah.
We all get stressed out, right?
Yeah.
Does the Series 10 have anything for that?
Yeah, actually, the Mindfulness app is pretty cool.
Mindfulness, huh?
It basically encourages you to take a few minutes, focus on your breathing, think about how you're feeling.
So it's like a guided meditation kind of thing.
Sort of. It just helps you incorporate mindfulness into your day, which can definitely reduce stress.
I like that. Okay, we've talked about health, but what about safety? Does the Series 10 have any features for that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They've got emergency SOS, fall detection, even crash detection.
Crash detection. That sounds intense.
It is. All these features can automatically call for help if you need it.
That's incredible. It's like having a personal bodyguard on your wrist. Okay, safety is covered, but let's talk about convenience. Does the Series 10 do anything to make our daily lives easier?
Tons of stuff. Like you can use your Apple Watch to unlock your Mac, switch audio between your AirPods.
Seamlessly.
Totally seamless. And you can even make contactless payments with Apple Pay.
Speaking of Apple Pay, how secure is it to pay with your watch?
It's actually incredibly secure. They use a special device account number and a one-time code for each purchase.
So my actual card details aren't being shared?
Nope. And you have to authenticate every purchase with your passcode or Face ID. So even if someone steals your watch,
They can't just go on a shopping spree.
Exactly. Okay, we've talked about a lot, from the display to health tracking to Apple Pay.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but I think we need to talk about the design too. How does the Series 10 look compared to the older models?
Yeah, I'm curious about that. What are the biggest changes?
Well, the first thing you'll notice is it's slimmer.
They made it even thinner.
Yep, just a few millimeters, but it makes a big difference, especially if you have smaller wrists.
Yeah, every millimeter counts when you're wearing it all day. What else is different?
The display is a bit bigger, even though the watch itself isn't much bigger.
They do that.
They made the bezel smaller, And they redesigned the digital crown, that little knob on the side.
Yeah.
It has haptic feedback now, so it feels more intuitive to use.
It's all about the details.
Exactly. And don't forget about the bands.
Oh yeah, the bands. Are there any new ones for the Series 10?
Of course. New sport bands, leather bands, even a woven solo loop that's super comfy and stylish.
I love that you can switch out the bands, personalize your watch.
It's like a fashion accessory.
Totally. But does the Series 10 still have that classic Apple Watch look?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But it's like they took that classic look and made it even better.
More modern.
Yeah, more modern and sophisticated. The rounded edges, the minimalist design, it's all very Apple but refined.
It's like they've perfected the Apple Watch design.
I think so. But we can't forget about the software. What's new with WatchOS?
Oh yeah, the software is just as important as the hardware. What's exciting about the new WatchOS?
Well, Siri is way better now, more responsive, more capable.
I heard they made some big improvements to Siri.
You can use it to do so much now. Send messages, set reminders, control your smart home.
All from your watch.
Yep. It's like having a tiny personal assistant on your wrist.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Any other software enhancements you're excited about?
Oh, yeah. The Series 10 works even better with other Apple devices now.
Like what?
Like you can use it to unlock your Mac, switch audio between your AirPods, use Apple Pay.
It's like Apple's created this whole ecosystem where all your devices talk to each other.
Exactly. But with all this talk about convenience and connectivity,
Yeah.
it makes you think about the potential downsides, right?
Like what?
Well, for one, privacy. These watches collect a lot of data about us.
Like our location, our activity, our heart rate even.
Yep. And we need to think about how that data is being used. Are we okay with that level of tracking?
That's a good point. It's easy to forget about the privacy implications when you're caught up in all the cool features.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of distraction. With notifications constantly buzzing on our wrists.
It can be hard to disconnect.
Exactly. We need to find a balance, set some boundaries with our technology.
Make sure it's serving us, not the other way around.
I like that. It's about making technology work for us, not against us.
Okay, so we've talked about the Series 10's features, the design, the potential downsides.
We've covered a lot.
But I think we need to talk about the future too. What do you see on the horizon for smartwatches?
That's a tough one. Technology is changing so fast.
I know, it's hard to keep up.
But based on what we're seeing now, I think we can expect some pretty amazing advancements.
Like what? Give me a glimpse into the future.
Well, I think we'll see even better health monitoring. Maybe smartwatches that can detect illnesses early on or even predict potential health risks.
That would be incredible.
Right. Imagine a watch that tells you you might be getting sick before you even feel any symptoms.
It's like having a personal health advisor.
Exactly. And I think we'll see more bio-integrated sensors, maybe even sensors embedded directly into our bodies.
Whoa, that's next level. But wouldn't that be kind of invasive?
It's definitely something we need to think about carefully. Privacy and data security are going to be even more important in the future.
Absolutely. What else do you see happening?
I think augmented reality is going to be huge for smartwatches. Imagine a watch that projects holographic displays or overlays information onto the real world.
Like walking down the street and your watch is showing you directions or highlighting points of interest?
Exactly. Or even translating signs in real time.
That would be so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's be realistic though. One of the biggest limitations of smartwatches right now is battery life.
Oh, for sure. You're always worried about your watch dying on you.
Do you think we'll see any major breakthroughs in battery technology soon?
I think so. Researchers are working on all sorts of new battery technologies. We might even see self-charging smartwatches someday.
No more plugging in. That would be a game changer. Okay, last question. What about the design of smartwatches? Do you think we'll see any radical changes?
It's hard to say, but I think smartwatches will become even more integrated into our lives. Maybe flexible displays that wrap around our wrists,
Ooh, that would be cool.
or even smartwatches that are built into our clothes or accessories.
It's like the line between technology and fashion is blurring.
It is. As technology advances, it's becoming more and more a part of everything we do.
It's exciting, but it also makes you think about the implications.
Definitely. We need to make sure we're using technology in a way that benefits us, not controls us.
Well said. Okay, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about the Apple Watch Series 10.
We've gone deep.
From the technical details to the user experiences to the philosophical questions about technology in our lives.
It's been a great discussion.
I agree. But I think it's time to wrap things up and leave our listeners with something to think about.
I like that. What do you have in mind?
It's pretty wild, right? All this talk about the future and how smartwatches might change everything.
I know. Holographic displays, sensors in our bodies. It's like something out of a movie.
Totally. But for now, let's come back down to earth a bit.
Back to reality.
Exactly. I was thinking, we've talked about the Series 10 in general.
Yeah.
But what about some of those little details, things people are actually saying in the Amazon reviews?
Good point. Actually, a few reviewers mentioned how much they love the new Sport Loop band.
Really? What do they like about it?
They say it's super comfortable, breathable, especially when they're working out.
You know, that makes me think maybe Apple tweaked the design or the materials. Yeah, maybe it's even better than the old Sport Loop.
It's those little things that can make a big difference.
Absolutely. And speaking of comfort, a lot of reviewers mentioned how light the Series 10 feels.
Oh, yeah.
Some even said it feels like they're not wearing a watch at all.
That's impressive, especially with all the tech they packed into it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
They're getting better and better at making these things smaller and lighter.
But it still looks like an Apple Watch, you know?
Yeah, it still has that classic look, but it feels more modern somehow.
Like they refined it, made it even sleeker.
Exactly. You know, we've talked a lot about the features and the tech and all that.
We have.
But I keep thinking about something you said earlier about how smartwatches might be changing our relationship with time.
Oh, right. It's like they're always there, demanding our attention.
Exactly. With all the notifications and reminders.
It's like our days are getting chopped up into these little tiny pieces.
And it makes you wonder, are we becoming too dependent on these things?
Are they controlling us instead of the other way around?
Yeah. Are we losing the ability to just be present, to enjoy the moment, without checking our watches every 5 seconds?
I think it's a valid concern, you know? It's like we're constantly plugged in, always checking for the next update.
And is all that information really making our lives better?
Or are we just getting more distracted, more stressed out?
It's a tough question. I mean, these devices can be really helpful.
Absolutely. For staying organized, connected.
But I think it comes down to finding a balance, setting boundaries.
Making sure we're using technology intentionally, not just letting it use us.
I think that's the key takeaway here. It's not about rejecting technology altogether.
Right.
It's about being mindful, making conscious choices about how we integrate it into our lives.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to say about the Apple Watch Series 10.
From the Amazon product page, at least.
Yeah, we dug deep.
We really did, and I hope our listeners found it insightful.
I think so. We talked about the features, the pros and cons, even the bigger questions about technology and society.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has. But I think it's time to wrap things up.
Okay, yeah. Any parting words of wisdom?
As always, folks, the most important deep dive is the one you take into yourself.
Ooh, I like that. And until next time, stay curious and stay connected.
To what matters most. And remember, the best discoveries are often the ones we make together.
Ready to upgrade to the next level? The Apple Watch Series 10 is not just a smartwatch. It's your personal fitness coach, heart health monitor, and a game changer in tech. Don't miss out on this must-have device. Click the link below for the full review and see why it's the ultimate upgrade for your lifestyle. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out on the latest tech reviews and tips. See you in the next one. Pradris.